Hi guys! Welcome to the first episode of our vlog.
So before we get started, please click on the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell to keep you updated.
So for today, we'll talk about OPM songs and artists that have sexual themes or even the slightest hints of sex.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of our topic, maybe we can discuss what OPM is.
Ang OPM o Original Philippine Music ay ang mga musical performances ng mga kapwa nating Pilipino. It can be in any genre such as pop rock, alternative rock, classical, or any genre as long as it's performed by a Filipino artist. Some artists that we will feature in this topic are Andrew E., Viva Hot Babes, Al James, and Sud.
And since you mentioned Andrew E. and Viva Hot Babes, maybe we can discuss how these iconic performers use topics of sex in their songs.
Wait a I think it's better if you try to dig deeper into the origins of these songs first.
Okay, G it.
I signed Proclamation number 1081, placing the entire Philippines under martial law.
We all know how the Filipino masses protested during the martial law era. Revolutions were done left and right and even underground. To pacify the masses, the Marcos administration developed a propaganda which made use of bomba films and nudity in prints to divert the attention of the Filipinos and to distract them from the reality of the Philippines during that time. In simpler words, the rise of the bold stars along with their explicit films were used to pacify the masses.
According to Isagani Cruz, ang kabasusan ng mga Pilipino, not only are these bomba films widespread in mainstream TV, there are also videotapes distributed in other countries as well. According to him, there are groups of women called friendship societies. And there are businessmen who take advantage of these women to pimp them out other men, their patrons, whether Filipinos or not.
The administrations of Cory Aquino and Ramos tried to suppress these severing explicit contents. But despite the suppression, creators resorted to subtle messages through radio ads and songs. Thus, this gave rise to the artists who tackled low-key sex as their theme for their musical pieces.
Dito na papasok ang mga kanta ng Viva Hot Babes. Who could forget their songs?
The Viva Hot Babes song Bulaklak is filled with references to the female genitals. In the lyrics, ang bango-bango ng bulaklak and ang pula-pula ng bulaklak, they made a double entendre between a fragrant flower and a virgin vagina. In another one of their songs, Basketball, the act of shooting the ball is a metaphor for sexual intercourse. Also, the lyrics, kung gusto mo sa Pasig, dun maraming court, imply that the persona is inviting the addressee to have sex because Pasig is known for having a lot of motels, which is usually a place for casual sex. Lastly, there was also a subtle hint that the persona singing is open to an orgy, as the lyrics go, pwedeng limahan, pwedeng tatluhan, kung gusto mo ay one-on-one. Given that most Viva Hot Babes members starred in bomba films, it is not surprising that sex is the primary theme in most of their songs and performances.
Well, CJ, you're not a 90s kid if you haven't danced or even sang along to these songs.
Well, I remember when we were children, like these songs were, well, they had a very happy vibe, like they were very upbeat. But as children, we didn't even know how or what even basketball meant.
Basketball is a game, basketball.
So like now that we're grown up, I don't even know how or why our parents allowed us to listen to those songs anyway.
Yeah. I would say that these songs were used as propaganda during the martial law era.
How so?
Well, they used the pleasure of sex as a tool to distract the people from the atrocities and everything bad that's happened during the time.
Aside from the other forms of media, we can see how the songs of Viva Hot Babes gives us a different perspective on women objectification. With their songs, we can also feel the low-key subtleness or the desire of women on sex.
I've actually read an essay by Isagani Cruz and he said, kung babae ang nagbabasa, ang pinapalagay na kamalayan ng babae ay kamalayan ng lalaki. Kung babae ang nagbabasa, ang pinapalagay na kamalayan ng babae ay kamalayan ng lalaki. Which I think makes sense because society has always been patriarchal. And it's not only our consciousness that builds our culture, but also our practices and traditions that we have formed over the years.
Aking mani di ko pa nahalikan when the night has come. Yeah, at pinatay ang ilaw. O madalas lumalabas banyo queen. Si Oliva yung sinamarin, pero siya'y bitin pa rin. Siya'y bitin pa rin. Gusto niyang lagyan ng magarin para aking lasapin. Aking lasapin.
In one of his most famous songs, Banyo Queen, Andrew E. tells the story of an encounter with a seemingly sexually promiscuous woman. In fact, there are hints in the song. For example, the mention of Malate can allude to the Malate of the 1990s, which was the red light district of Manila at the time. This could mean that the female persona in the song is a prostitute. Also, the mention of ménage à trois or household of three is very telling of the sexual activity that the woman engages in. For example, threesomes or three-way relationships. Lastly, the lines madalas lumalabas banyo queen and madalas lumalabas kay banyo queen mean two things. First, the woman goes out a lot to have sex, and second, it can refer to the frequent vaginal discharge during sex.
Well, CJ, I just realized it's very concerning that we grew up to these songs. We listened, or we were forced to listen to these songs without even knowing their true context when we were children.
Oo nga and because listening to mainstream music doesn't really have an age requirement. Everyone and even the children gets access to these songs. Like, they get
Internet.
to hear how the sexual innuendos are used in the songs. And with that, we can also hear it in the TV ads, commercials, even in the radio.
That's true.
And it's so accessible to everyone.
I think the most concerning part of it all is how it shaped our generation thinks and how it became embedded into the consciousness of the youth.
Actually, there are a lot of forms of how sex is used in mainstream music, but we don't really have the time to tackle all of them.
Now, moving on to the next part of our discussion, we had the OPM independent artists. As much as mainstream OPM loved sexual themes, there were also independent artists that used sexual innuendos in the lyrics of their songs. First up, Al James. Now, let's listen to his song, Ngayong Gabi.
Yeah, ikaw na lang ang katabi ngayong gabi. O pwede tayo magpabaga pag nalalamig. Dumag-dumag na kasindi buong gabi. Naghanap kasi ng tama ang nagkamali. Ikaw na lang ang katabi ngayong gabi. O pwede tayo magpabaga habang malamig. Dumag-dumag na kasindi buong gabi. O ang sarap kasi ng tama kahit na mali. Yeah. Pagod ka na ba at sawa ka ng masaktan? Sagad na sagad, halika't sindihan ko na yan. Manood tayo hanggang umaga ng pelikula na gusto.
Rhyming of the word gabi with gabi. Both of his songs shown ooze of sex. Not just hints, but actual descriptions of what he wants to do with the girl he would be sleeping with. In Pahinga, he says there that sagad na sagad, halika't sindihan ko na yan. And in Ngayong Gabi, he says pwede na tayong magpabaga pag nanlalamig o magdamag na kasindi buong gabi. A common theme in these lyrics is how something associated with hotness, heat, or fire refers to something sexual. By definition, hotness can also mean a state of sexual arousal.
as we can see in Aljane's songs, he's very similar to our mainstream artists in the way that the sexual innuendos were also subtly inserted in his songs.
Now, we have reached our final artist for today. Here's Sud and their song Milky.
You got a little bit of sex in you, and it's all I wanna do. Girl, you're all I wanna do. Playing harmonies on your skin. Ooh, you silk like hips, those conscious lips, as sexy as can be. We talk for hours. She wants to know me more. Baby, come closer. Know you want me, girl. Standing here naked, feeling so right. I don't wanna rush, but girl, you excite me. Fuck, girl, you got me saying bad words, and I ain't playing. When I see your ass is on the floor, it turns me on. Damn, baby, you so fine, and you're always on my mind. And I'm singing you this song, saying bad words all night long. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
The persona used in Sud's songs is that of its singer, who wants to have sex with just one particular girl. Smilky, a portmanteau of smooth and silky, is used to describe how the girl's skin is as smooth as silk, as well as her silk-like hips. The harmony that he's mentioning in the song is how different sounds or harmonies can be produced from the skin when two people have sex. Unlike the previous artists, the way they inserted sexual hints is less subtle. With Sud's songs, they are more direct and they do not try to use any symbols as replacements for sexual parts or other connotations for sexual objects or places. Sud has also faced controversies in the past. Their Pulp magazine cover in 2016 was misogynistic. The cover shoot shows two women dressed up in lingerie and looking like they are planning to do something sexual with each other. The theme of the shoot made it seem like the members were filmmakers to a lesbian porn shoot featuring the two women. Now, Sud is usually banned from multiple local concerts and music fests because of cases filed against some of its members for sexual misconduct.
Definitely, Sud's songs are very vulgar compared to the other artists that we showed earlier. By discussing their persona, by giving specific details of how they are feeling with the girl that they're with.
Now, as you have seen from our clips, independent artists have also inserted some sexual innuendos and themes into their music. Some are subtle, some are not. But at the end of the day, they have the same target audience, so the similarities with mainstream OPM are not that surprising.
But we can't really stop or force these artists from removing the sexual innuendos in their songs. Since, as you said earlier, their target audiences are young adults or millennials such as us, who are very interested or very aware about sex.
Now, we should remember, however, that these sexual themes are not only found in songs. They're actually very widespread across mainstream media.
Actually, when we look around or everywhere that we go, we can see how sex is used in these advertisements, as seen here.
Headshot. Sit down. Stand up. Headshot. Sit down. Stand up. Bait it. Bait it. Bait it.
As we have seen in the TV ads and commercials that were flashed earlier, we can see that the tool that was used to pacify our fellow Filipinos in the martial law era is now used as a powerful marketing strategy in order to sell. As they say, sex sells.
Not only that, but sex has become an everyday thing for us Filipinos. Who would have thought that the songs that we listen to have double meanings in it?
That's right, JP. And it has already come to a point in our life where we use sex to cover up our problems in life. In the literal sense, sex can become an unhealthy vice for us millennials. Despite all these, music with hidden messages can actually be useful for us. For one, music faces less restrictions, especially pagdating sa mga age na mga naka-access nito.
In a sense, this form of Philippine literature can be used to combat problematic views and stigmas surrounding sexuality and other topics that may be viewed as taboo. Since there are fewer restrictions in music, artists can freely instill messages in their songs that could build a positive view among the youth that is more inclusive.
A key matter to note is that once this notion hits mainstream, pwedeng mapasa ang mga ganitong klaseng beliefs not only to other songs, but also to other forms of literature such as books, vlogs, and other forms of literature that are very popular with the youth today.
Wait a sec. I think it's better if we try to dig deeper into the origins of these songs first.
Okay, Gian. Record up.
And go.
And since you mentioned Andrew E. and ano ko mag-pronounce?
Akala ko after na Viva Hot Music.
Okay.
Pwede naman, Andrew E. Tapos Viva Hot and go.
So that's it for the first episode of our channel. So I hope we shared something interesting for you guys today.
Again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to keep you updated.
And go.
And since you mentioned,
I've actually read an essay by Isagani Cruz, and he said, kung ang nagbabasa ay babae, ang pinapalagay na kamalayan ay mali. Kung babae ang nagbabasa, ang pinagpapalagay... said, kung ang babae... no! Fuck yes!
So that's it for the first episode of our channel. So I hope we shared something interesting for you guys today.
Again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to keep you updated. Peace out!
Peace.